So let's log into Hub and we will download our files. The location to log in, the address is provided below here. So now that we're at the login screen, I'm going to log in. Great, so now we're in. So here we need to download two files. We need the license file and the Windows installer, since I'll be installing it on a Windows machine. So I'll go ahead and do that. We need the team server, so I'll download that. Also, I need my license file, so I'll download that. Now, you can see the installer is taking a little bit of time. Luckily, I already have both of these files already downloaded, so I'm just going to pause this download and let's go to the files. So as you can see here, I have the version of the team server that I'm going to install, and I also have my license file that it's going to use. So I'm going to click on the installer and click Run as Administrator. It's important to run it as an administrator because we need to read and write files, and for that we need the correct permissions to be able to do that. So now that the installer is set up, let's run through it. I'm going to be running a very default install of Team Server. In most cases, you'll only need to do the default. If you do want to change it up from the default step for any reason, please feel free to do so. Our documentation is very detailed, so it can help you with any of the steps that you'd like to customize. The first step is where we're actually going to download it. The default is Program Files Contrast folder, and it requires 1 gig of space, which I'm completely okay with, so I'm going to click Next. Here it asks to choose which type of installation we're going to do, either the full install or application server. We want both the application server and the MySQL database, since this is a brand new machine. So I'm going to choose full install and click Next. Now it asks us for our license file. So I have that. If I go to computer, go to my downloads and my license file. Click Open and click Next. And that is right. And click OK. And it will take me to the next step. Great, so the next step is the ports, where we want to access Team Server from. The default web port will be 8080, shutdown will be 8005, and AJP port will be 8009. I'm okay with that. I don't have any other applications running on this computer, so port 8080 works for me. So I'm going to just click Next. I would like the Team Server to start on system startup, so I'm going to leave that checked and click Next. By default, the URL is the host name of the computer that I'm running on, port 8080/contrast, and I don't need X forwarded for headers. So I'm going to leave it the way it is and then also click Next. Now we come to the MySQL database setup. The default is everything that it shows you by default. I don't have any reason to change it from the default. The other option is to set up distributed database, and this is in case you have your own MySQL instance and you'd like to use that server for the contrast database, then you can click that here and put in your information here. I don't have that, so I'm just going to leave it at the default setup and click Next. Here we get our own JVM options. You have the option of using the JVM which we provide you, or if you have Java already running on your machine, you can use that Java instead. I'm okay with just installing another set of Java and using having the Team Server use its own instance of Java, so I'm going to leave it at this default and click Next. Now we're come to the final step, which is a mail server. I don't have a mail server set up right now, but that is something that I'd like to do in the future. So for now, I'm going to uncheck that, and I'm going to install a Team Server. There is a chance to set up the mail server again once the Team Server is actually up and running. So I'm going to find out the information for my mail server and then go back to that step and configure it. But for now, I'm just going to uncheck this enable access box and click next. And I would like to create a folder, so I leave that the way it is and then click next. Nice, and now we're ready to install. As you can see, this command prompt also has some information there, and we can see that there's some database action going on, which is creating the database, and it's creating the schema which the team server will use. So by default, the team server runs as a service. So if I go to my services, I should see contrast server service running here, and as you can see, it is running. So if you ever want to manually change up the team server or take it down, restart it, you can do so from here, from the services box. Also, while it's installing, let's just check out the default install folder and just see if it's actually getting any information there. So that was in my C program files directory and contrast. So as you can see, the folders are already being written here, and it's already created. So it just looks like it's starting web server. We can look through two logs. The main log for the actual server itself is located in this logs folder here at the contrast root, and it's named server.log. This is the log of just the server startup and shutdown. It doesn't include anything within the team server itself. It just shows us whether the server has started up or has shut down. So looking through the server, it looks like it is starting it, so we just got to give it a little bit more time. The main log, which will be very useful for just general team server usage or troubleshooting, is located in the data folder and inside the logs folder here. And its name is contrast.log. So it looks like contrast.log is still empty, which means that the application hasn't come up itself. The server is up and running, or getting up and running, but the application itself has not started up. So let's just wait a few more seconds to make sure that the server starts up. One more thing to note here is that the first time startup will be the longest that it will ever take the team server to start up. That's because it needs to initialize the database, initialize the files, and that just takes a little bit extra time. So going ahead, this team server will take much less time to start up. But right now it's doing the first time initial setup, and that's what's taking a little bit longer. Great, so it looks like the team server is finished installing. So we're going to go ahead and click finish here. And let's see if it actually started up. So the default location of the team server was the localhost server name, and then port 8080. So let's try going to port 8080. As you can see, I've already been there a few times. Nice, so we got our login screen here for our locally running team server. So let's log in. The default login as a super admin is contrast_superadmin at yourorganisationname.com. So for me, it will be Contrast Security, but here it'll be any your company email.com, and the password is default 1 exclamation. Nice. So now we're logged in. As you can see, this is completely clean. There's no data here. All we have is just one organization, 2 users, including the user I'm logged in as right now. No application, no server. So this team server is all ready to start collecting security information and tell you what the vulnerabilities are.